Hi, this is Bexxie, and today I want to talk to you about working with vocalists. So I've worked with a number of vocalists on my tracks. I've done vocals on my own tracks, I've done vocals for others' tracks. So I just wanted to make this video to share everything I've learned in the past couple years about working with vocalists and what you need to know to get started. So we'll be going over things like where to find vocalists, what to ask them for, what sort of agreements do you need to have in place, things like that, and much more. So let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about where to even find vocalists. I've used a number of methods. So one is marketplaces. So there's places like SoundBetter or Fiverr where people are posting their services. With SoundBetter, it's music services like session musicians, vocalists, mixing engineers, that sort of thing. Fiverr is a place where pretty much anybody with any sort of skill or service can post it. So with SoundBetter, for instance, it's great because you can kind of filter by genre, by budget, that sort of thing, and then kind of narrow down and listen to the vocalists' samples and demos of things that they've worked on. So you can kind of get an idea of their style and if they would be, a good fit for your project, and you can reach out to them directly, or you can post a brief giving some information about what you're looking for. So those are the marketplaces. I'm sure there's a ton of them out there. Those are just a couple that I've used, and just want to preface that I have not received any sort of sponsorship for those sites, but just want to share what I've personally used. So social networks can be another great place to find vocalists. I was working on a early 90s piano house track, which ended up being a track called Meant to Be. But when I was working on it, I knew that I wanted a male vocal. So a lot of times when I know I want an original vocal, I will still go to Splice or some other royalty-free sample library and find a vocal that's kind of in the style that I'm going for, and also just to use it as a placeholder so I can figure out arrangement. This way I just have a better idea of what I'm looking for when I do find, when I am looking for a vocalist for it. So when I was on Splice, I found this male vocalist named Ryan Conline, and he had some samples on there, and his voice was perfect for this project. It was exactly what I was looking for. So I thought, maybe I'll just go on Instagram and see if I can find him. So I reached out to him on Instagram, and he got back to me, and he got some vocals together for me, and that's what ended up being Meant to Be. So don't be afraid to reach out to vocalists on Instagram and just see if they're open to working on something with you. There's of course then working with friends. You might have a friend that is a vocalist, so if you have the ability to record vocals, or if they have the ability to record vocals, you can certainly work with a friend. And then also a publisher. If you have a publisher, sometimes they also have a network of vocalists and songwriters that are also, they use them for their publishing. So they then can connect you with vocalists as well. So yeah, those are just a few places that I found vocalists to work with. Okay, now that you've found a vocalist, you want to share with them exactly what you're looking for. So what this means is, remember I talked about a brief earlier with SoundBetter? I think in general you should just kind of have a brief put together anyways, regardless of how you found the vocalist. Basically meaning that, you have a demo track that they can listen to and record off of. You have reference tracks as well to share with them for stylistic purposes, for them to get a feel for just the vibe of the tracks that you're going for. And then you also want to share exactly what you're looking for the vocal. Do you want just a hook, a chorus, or do you want a full song with verses, a chorus, ad-libs, harmonies, all of that stuff. Also, are they writing the lyrics, or do you already have lyrics written and you just need them to record vocals for? So you need to be very explicit in telling them exactly what you're looking for in order to get back what you want. So it's important to communicate that clearly, and also it's important to speak their language. So knowing, what is a harmony, what is a verse, a pre-chorus, all of that stuff. So just make sure that you're speaking their language so that there's just no disconnect as far as what they, what you expect and then what you get back. Okay, before we move on, hit that subscribe button below if you haven't already done so. Now that the vocalist should have everything that they need from you to understand what the project entails, the next thing before they hit record or come up with any ideas for you is you need to agree upon a few things. So first off, money. So depending on the project, what all is involved in the project, is there lyric writing? Is it just top line? Is it just vocals? That based on the vocalist's experience. Are they, have they worked on Grammy award-winning songs, or, are they just beginning? So depending on their experience and what all is entailed in the project will dictate, what they might be asking for. They might ask for a flat fee, just a complete buyout. They might ask for a fee plus a percentage, or otherwise known as a split. So meaning they get a percentage of royalties, and that percentage can be negotiated and it can be agreed upon. It might just be a split. So those are a few things that you will encounter as you work with vocalists as far as money goes. And if there is a split involved, you will want to use what's called a split sheet. Basically, this is just a sheet. It's an agreement with everyone's information, everyone that's involved in the writing of the track, and what the percentages are that each person, each writer is getting with the track. I won't get into too much more details on that because that could be like a whole other video. But just bear in mind that you will need to have that in place. It's just good to have it in place so that, if there's any issues down the line, you have that agreement. So yeah, so there's money. Then also you want to discuss, does the vocalist want to be featured or not on the track? Meaning that they're, are featured artists, it'll show up on their Spotify and their Apple Music and all that, or do they not want to feature at all because maybe the track just doesn't fit with their brand, their style, so they just, don't want it showing up in their Spotify. So there's that, and also timeline. So how quickly do you want this track? Is this like a rush project? Do you need it in like a couple days? Or can you work with, maybe they can't get it back to you in a couple months because they've just got other projects? So those are the 3 things that you should agree upon before the vocalist starts the project. Okay, so you've agreed upon those things. You've got all the project details over to the vocalist. They've worked on the vocals, they sent it back to you, you're happy with it, it's in the track. I think the last thing to do is to share the finished product with the vocalist. So especially if they're being featured on the track, think of it as a collaboration, right? You want to make sure that they're happy with how it sounds as well. So send it over to them, have them take a listen, and just kind of keep them updated on the process too, of like, when is it coming out? When is it being released? That sort of thing. Just make sure that they're involved. I think with anything in life and any sort of relationships in life, communication is key. So just make sure you're communicating every step of the way throughout this process. Make sure that everybody is on board, just knows what's going on, and then, you'll both be happy with the end result. Okay, well, I hope this video helps give you some insights on working with vocalists. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.